Call this meeting of the Reno City Council order at 6 p.m. October 13, 2014. We'll have the invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan.
Shall we pray? Our Father and our God, we are thankful for the blessings of life that you've given to each one of us. And dear precious God, we thank you for the life that we have, and we pray, Lord, that you'd help each one of us to apply it so that we might hear you say, well done, when we stand before you in your presence one day. Help us, Lord, to do those things that are pleasing in thy sight. Help us not only to know what's right, but to do what's right. Lord, we do pray that you bless our community, our citizens. Help us to do those things that are beneficial tonight to each and every one of them. Again, bless our lives to your service and forgive us of our sins. We ask it in Jesus' name for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Invite you to join with me in the pledge to the United States and the Texas flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item 4, roll call.
Brandon Thomas.
Here.
Rick Jordan.
Here.
Amanda Willows. Here. Walter Cooper.
Here.
Let the record show absent. Joy McCarthy. Also present. Mayor William Hamburger. City Attorney David Hamilton. And Kara Hubbard taking minutes.
Is anyone signed in? No one signed in on open forum, so we will go to item 7, discuss take action on A, required policies and procedures for the Texas Community Development Block Grant Project number 7214087. I believe we have Charles Edwards from Resource Management to explain what this is.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for having me tonight. As a part of getting started on the disaster relief grant, I believe all y'all are aware of. I'm not sure of the order of the policies that you got there in front of you, but these are all requirements of the program. Most of them are directed towards the inclusion of Section 3 residents. So a Section 3 policy that you're passing tonight. I can read through all of these. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to do so, or I can just answer questions about each one as we go through them if you like. I have discussed the excessive force policy with Chief Birch, and I believe he's agreeable to everything that's within there.
Let me interrupt just a second. Do we have something in the packet?
With this.
Excessive force policy, okay.
And all of these policies and procedures are specific to the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. There's nothing outside of these that you have to do in your day-to-day other than towards the grant activities that these are applicable to.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
have you reviewed these and
Yeah, I think you're going to have to do it if that's what you want to do.
We do it or we don't get the grant, correct?
Yeah, it's,
These are pending. And just to be brief on each one of them, the Section 3 policy basically states that in any hiring procedures you go through for construction contractors or other personnel towards the TXCDBG grant program, that you will advertise and reach out to Section 3 residents, which are those low to moderate income. And the policy kind of goes along with that, and in every advertisement that you have, that would be attached. The grievance procedure basically gives an avenue for anyone that's got a problem with the grant process, how it's going along. It tells them what to do in order to file a complaint. And that goes hand in hand with the complaint procedures that you also have. They're very similar. Kara is the identified person to contact and as a starting point to work through these items. In all the years I've been doing this, I've never had to reflect back to these documents for any issues, but it's a requirement that they be on file. Like I said, the excessive force resolution has already been reviewed by your police chief and he's accepting of it. There's one other document, which is the resolution of designation within these. This is appointing those persons who sign on the financial documents when a draw request is made. Two persons within the city have to sign on those documents. And we've listed the mayor pro tem, and the city secretary on those documents. So this, from my understanding, they're the appointed ones already. To be brief on each one of those, that's what they stand for.
Do they have to have a motion individually, or can there be a motion to adopt all?
That's really up to the city. The states at the end of the program is just going to want to see that they were adopted and the resolutions accepted as they are. They're not going to reflect back to the minutes on how they were adopted.
All right, anyone have any questions of Charles? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Do we have a resolution number on this excessive force policy?
Yeah, it's this one right here.
That if you just adopt all of them together, you could just adopt the required policy and procedures of that.
Where's that?
Yeah, I put them, but then there's going to be 3 numbers in there. And then you might miss one of the other sections.
But all these going to be included in this one number?
No.
Nope.
No, there's going to be multiple ones. That's why I asked if it could be just adopted in one motion, to just adopt the required policy and procedures for the TXC.
Can we do just one motion?
Yeah,
All right.
that's what he was saying. So it'd be better just to do, that way they're all lumped in there together, instead of trying to split them up and.
So we need a motion to adopt the required policies and procedure for the Texas Community Development Block Grant Project number 7214087.
Yeah, that'd be the way to make sure that way nothing gets left out.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt the required policies and procedures for the Texas CDBG project number 7214087.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Thomas, a second by Mrs. Willis, that we adopt the required policies and procedures for the Texas Community Development Block Grant Project 7214087. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, acceptance of Homeland Security Grant. Chief Birch.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can receive a briefing sheet about the Department of Homeland Security 2014 grant award. We were notified of last month. The mayor, as emergency management director for the city, has the authority to sign that and accept it. He wanted to come to council, and I don't disagree with that. The grant award is $26,757. The funds were applied for to purchase and install a P25 compliant digital communications repeater for public safety purposes. You got any questions?
You say y'all gonna put on the tower out of Lamar Electric?
Yeah, more electric stuff. That's what we're looking at. That'll have to be approved. The state will have to approve that site. LEC will have to give us formal permission to do that. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Shouldn't be. Of course, it's right next to the substation, so redundant powers are pretty good. I mean, if it goes down, it's the first to come back up. Plus, they have generators for that power. So it would be an ideal place to put it.
Charging is cheap, being on the tower.
That hadn't even come up.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for Chief Birch? If not, we need a motion to either accept or reject the Homeland Security grant in the amount of $26,757.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept the Homeland Security grant in the amount of $26,757.
I second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan with a second by Mr. Cooper that we accept the Homeland Security grant in the amount of $26,757. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval for the city attorney to attend prosecutors conference in Dallas, Texas, March 8th through 10th, 2015.
You know we send you to school? In Dallas? It is in Dallas.
All right. My deal on attorney, just like council members and staff, we've got people working for us, and we don't proper train them. It's only us to blame when something happens.
I agree.
Yes.
So, I either need a motion to allow city attorney to attend or not to attend, or no action and it will die for lack of a motion.
I make a motion we approve for the city attorney to attend the prosecutors conference in Dallas, Texas, March 8th through the 10th, 2015.
I second.
A motion by Mr. Cooper, second by Mr. Thomas, that we approve the city attorney to attend the prosecutors conference in Dallas, Texas, March 8th through 10th, 2015. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, smoking, non-smoking policy for city employees, and smoking ordinance number 2014-10-13 for city property. Mr. Hamilton.
Remember, last regular meeting, there was the no smoking or smoking policy is the last thing to be done to complete the employee manual. So, section 5.13, if you want to prohibit employees from smoking, that's proposed language go in the employee manual, and it basically says that you can't use tobacco products in a vehicle or a building, inside a building that's owned by or leased or operated by the city, unless there's a designated place where you take a break to do that. And that's what it says. And the other is a smoking policy for and the smoking policy is not throughout the city, it's just for city-owned buildings inside them. And again, if there's a designated area to smoke away from the windows and the doors, people can do that. They just can't, if you adopt that, people can't smoke inside buildings that are owned or operated by the city. And I believe it extends to parks like the pavilion. People would not be able to smoke there if you adopt the ordinance.
So this is going to be for an ordinance, not for policy?
No, there's two different things. The thing that says like 5.3 at the top of it, that's an employee policy.
Okay.
And the other is a city ordinance, and it's up to you guys. You can adopt all or either or one. This is like, I have two choices here, so probably two motions, but they're just the same thing. Last time it looked like an ordinance, but it was supposed to be part of the policy. So you guys said, hey, go work that up where we can tell the difference. And so I did. So 5.13 is for employees only, and it would go in the employee manual. And then that's ready to go at the end of that. It's indexed and everything's done. The other one is actually an ordinance that would keep citizens from smoking inside buildings that Reno owns.
Is there already something that you can't smoke inside a building?
Not that I know of. There may be a, we don't like you to smoke here.
Right, like
a don't do that kind of thing. Maybe.
No smoking sign?
Sign's not an ordinance, but
Right.
there may be places. I don't know. I don't know that there is. Here at City Hall, I think there is already a designated smoking area. And all of the employees have been courteous enough to take their smoke breaks outside there. But there's nothing in writing that says that. That's my understanding.
So in the employee manual, we don't have anything about smoking
Just in vehicles.
in vehicles, okay. That's what I remember the vehicles, okay.
On like the parks, is there a problem that, that anyone's having at the park? I mean, has anyone heard?
I haven't. No.
I mean, I just wonder if that, this is a problem that we need to address.
It's there. If the council doesn't want it in there, it can come right out. The same issue, you're going to have it there. It's a city-owned thing. If somebody does have a problem with it, or you get to go out there and clean up after it, that's a city function, and you're going to get to clean it up. So, it's not it doesn't make a dime or a dollar to me. It's up to you guys if you want to do it. I have not had a complaint about that. Nobody's come to my office or called me and said, people out there smoking at the park and I don't like it.
Well, see, that's me. I have a hard time trying to tell citizens what to do when there's no problem. No root basis that.
Well, it may be a problem for people that don't smoke, though. That's the whole problem there.
I mean, and it could be, but
Yeah. Okay.
it's kind of like starting a fire though where there's not one.
I make a motion we approve policy 5.13, no smoking policy.
Are we going to split these?
I think it'd be a good idea, yeah.
Split them.
Because that motion was for the employee policy, yeah.
Okay.
I'm second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Cooper, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan, that we adopt this ordinance number 2014-10-13.
Policy 513.
1-3.
Policy 513.
All right, policy.
Yeah.
That's all we're gonna vote on right now.
Yeah. there's
Okay, we'll do-
separate votes.
Was that your motion?
Vote, yeah, on the one.
On the no smoking policy?
Right.
And you're clear that was, your second still stands?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I have a motion by Mr. Cooper, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan to adopt policy number 5.13, no smoking policy. Any further discussion? Were you through? You know, all I'm gonna say before we vote, I don't smoke, I don't like it, but I also don't like being told what I can and can't do by government, but I think in this case, we owe it to our citizens not to allow our employees to constantly be smoking when they're around them and all. With that said, any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we need to discuss ordinance, don't we? What we just voted on, the policy 5.13, pertains only to city employees. So if we don't adopt this policy, our citizens can still come and conceivably be sitting right in this room tonight smoking.
If we don't do the ordinance.
Huh?
Yeah, the ordinance.
Yeah, if we don't adopt this. You know, I can support something like this, but if it was citywide, you know, on someone else's property, I'd have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with. I'm not so sure that the 50 feet might be a little excessive, but we can always, it's going to be a whole lot easier to lessen something once we pass it than it does to strengthen it. And I've got a question about the violations and penalties. In our code of ordinances, and we have a standard penalty clause.
Yes, sir.
Is this in line with that, or?
No, this is a lot less. I don't think there's a Class C misdemeanor in the whole ordinances where the first offense is a $50 fine. It was 100 or 50, which was it?
50.
50. I don't
And
think
most
there's
of our
another one.
ordinances, any ordinance that isn't stated what it is, it's $100.
Right.
So, yeah, the 50 is lower than what it would be if it wasn't stated.
So that this is a progressive thing, which has an advantage, you know. You're not hammering somebody over the head because they came in here and smoked, but you want them to know they didn't do it. $50, I don't think you can do anything in municipal court for $50 anymore. Nothing that I know of.
I agree with what Brandon said, that where there's not a fire, there's not a problem. Why do something if there's not been any issues? I also agree with what Walter said. It has to do with, at the park, with folks that don't smoke. I haven't smoked, don't smoke, and but I'm not opposed to those who want to smoke. My concern, for the park, for instance, is I don't want someone that has a breathing problem not to be able to go there and watch a ball game. A grandson or granddaughter or play in some sport there because there's quite a few folks that are gathered together and they happen to be smoking. I would think they could wait an hour or 2 hours or go somewhere if they just have to have a cigarette and smoke one and not be a burden or a hindrance to somebody that may have breathing difficulties. So, that being said, I support this myself.
See, I agree with a lot of what you say also, because I do not smoke either. But then again, it's not 1974 either, where everyone smokes. There's very few people who even smoke nowadays. And most of the ones that do are respectful of others. A lot of them are. And like I said, I have a hard time with this.
Do you think maybe a designated area at the park?
This is saying that you can smoke at the park.
Yeah,
It's not
just
50 feet,
50
not
feet from-
sitting in the bleachers, not over by the playground equipment.
Or by the pavilion.
Yeah. So if you have kids or elderly or anything in those areas, you smoke away from
So
them.
going out in the parking lot?
Yeah.
I make a motion we adopt ordinance number 2014-10-13.
A second.
All right, I have a motion and we adopt ordinance number 2014-10-13. Motion by Mr. Cooper with a second by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. 1, 2. All right, motion passes on 3-1 vote. Item E, invoice from Avtech Solutions in the amount of $1,624.44 for service provided during Criminal Justice Information System audit for the Police Department. Mr. Hamilton.
This is a review of the contract between the city and Avtech Solutions, and I think the conclusion that I come to is in order for us to be contractually bound, the Avtech employees who came here had to reduce to writing a work authorization agreement, and there is not one that I've been given. And that work authorization agreement would set out the price so you'd know what you're getting when people come here. And I think that the surprise was that, and the chief may be able to address this some more, there were actually 2 people that showed up when one was expected. So the city received an invoice for twice as much labor as was perceived to be on the road at that time. So the legal issue, which is what I do, I don't legislate for you guys. The legal issue is, I don't think they could get it from you. If you say, we're not going to pay you because you didn't follow the terms of the contract, and I don't think they did. That doesn't resolve the whole issue, because if you've got an ongoing relationship with somebody under a contract, you still got problems with them, regardless if you won on one legal issue, you still have a relationship with them. So there may be other issues here that you need to consider other than they just fail on the contract in taking into account your decision on this.
Now, we haven't already paid that invoice, have we?
No.
Okay.
I believe when I talked to the chief, his impression was that both the techs were not here for the entire 7.5 hours that they billed. One was here for that entire time. Another one, he thought, left about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before that. So there's that discrepancy, at least. We were billed for 2 basically full-time days here, and according to our witness who was there, we didn't get that. We got something short of that. And if I remember correctly, the chief expected one person to be here, and when he got there for the audit, there were two. So that was kind of the surprise.
Double the mileage on there too. Double the mileage, they didn't write together.
And Chief, you contacted
That's
them,
what happened.
didn't you, to send one person?
Well, I contacted them to send somebody. And I can't remember if it was that day or the day before when I found out there was two kind of, his auto was on Thursday, if I believe, if I remember right. I didn't know Monday, Tuesday, who was even coming. They hadn't decided it because the one guy that was going to come had left, wasn't working there. So it was up in the air up until the 11th hour.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if they had told me 10 people were coming, I wouldn't have thought twice about it because I didn't thought there'd be,
Part of their contract.
Yeah. But apparently not.
So you weren't aware that they would charge?
No, and they've been told before because of other work that I've had done, that anything over $1,500, I would have to get approval for it. So they were aware of that. And until this come up, what'd you call that document?
Work authorization agreement.
I've never heard of that until all this come up. Because the other 2 or 3 times maybe that they've been down to do work, that document's never even
Let me ask a question on the additional work authorization document. We've had Avtech come down before and do extra work that we were billed for, correct? Did we have a executed additional work authorization agreement for that work?
I don't know, I never looked back and looked. I had one after this happened.
Not the work I requested to have done, because I've never heard that document before until he asked me about it. Or one of y'all asked me about it.
I would hate for us to use a document like that for grounds not to pay something we owe. I don't think we owe the travel for 2 people like that. And, I could debate where we really owed for 2 people since they voluntarily sent 2 people.
Chief, did it take 2 people to do this, or what did one sit around and do nothing?
No, they're both in there during the audit, and they both answered questions, and one knew more than the other.
That's probably when they sent 2.
Probably, my guess. And to be honest with you, the one guy, I can't remember which one. Anyway, one of them got along really well with the auditor. So that was a little bit of a perk for me. It made her a little bit nicer, I think. But other than that, did it do any good? I don't know. That's my first audit, so I couldn't say, I don't have any past experience with that.
Well, it sounds like that we have one or 2 options, either to pay as billed or to ask them if they would be willing to negotiate an adjustment on the bill. If we feel like we've been an excessive charge for the work done.
Have you talked to them why they sent 2 people?
But no, since all this, I haven't talked to them at all.
That's a good starting point right there.
Well, and I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen before I started talking. And I was going to inquire before I even brought it to council, but I thought better of it. I was like, well, before I start complaining about something, let me make sure I got some backup first. Because I knew it was going to have to go for approval.
But the only reason this come to council to start with was because it was over the $1,500 limit. So if it's been $1,500 or less, it would have been paid with no questions asked of the council.
Of the council, yeah. Of the council, there probably still would have been
Yeah.
some questions asked.
You know, I'd be willing to say if they ever cut the 400 miles for that second person off, we pay the bill and see if everybody go away happy.
I think so too. I have a problem with the
I mean,
mileage for two of them.
We could debate the two people online. We just heard the chief say, one person got along great with the auditor, one didn't. So if we'd drawn cards out of the deck and only had the wrong one person show up, no telling what would have been the outcome of that audit.
And the one guy, he only talked when he was asked the question or when he knew the answer to it. The other guy talked the whole time.
Well,
I don't know if he runs the version for the other guy, I don't know.
what if, thought here, what if we approve this to be paid, and then if it can be negotiated down on the mileage, then so be it. Otherwise, and whatever that negotiation comes to, if not, then we have approved it to be paid as billed.
Mr. Hamilton, as far as their contract, you couldn't find anywhere in there that they bill for mileage or anything of that nature?
It's subject to interpretation. They could. One way to interpret that is they bill door to door, and so there's no mileage at all. When they go out and get in the car, the hourly rate starts to tick, and it keeps ticking until they get back to the house. That's one way to look at it, which makes it a little bit more expensive for the city to do it that way. So the mileage thing, from that perspective, and that was one of the reasons I asked the chief for these people here 7.5 hours, because I thought maybe they were billing while they were driving down here too, and then billing us from mileage. But it does not appear that was the case. So if they wanted to interpret the contract, say, no, we'll kick that mileage out, we'll bill you door to door. That's what our rates are. Then you've got about 4 more hours of labor on either end of the thing. And it's not that clear.
Kind of a catch-22.
It is. It's not that clear. It just really is.
It really is.
How long they're on site, chief?
One was here 7.5 hours, and if not, darn close to it. And the other one, I want to say, he was here 6.5, something. He wasn't here the full 7.5. That's my biggest discrepancy is the time, because I know both of them weren't here the same, because they both didn't travel the same. One came from Plano, which is where the home office is, and the other one, I believe, came from, I want to say Longview. And I just remember that conversation. It never dawned on me about this. Never even, the invoice never even.
He had to come further than Longview for 400 miles.
Yeah.
Well, the monthly fee that we pay them, which is actually, quite substantial, what exactly is that for?
When we talked about, that's where I had the problem with this, when we sat down and went into this contract, we were told that anything that was required that they had to be on site for, there wouldn't be an additional charge. And the only time an additional charge would ever come into play would be for something that we wanted them here for, but they could do
And that's why,
from there.
and that's why when
And
this
they
came up, I didn't even think about getting the $1,600 invoice.
Right.
It just didn't even.
And that's what with me, this is work that it was required of them to be here. They couldn't do this from being, remotely when it's an audit.
Right.
So that's why there would be a charge. And that was what I thought could be found in the contract, but apparently that's not in there. They're saying that.
But the auditor told us we needed these people on site.
Oh, I didn't imagine that, but.
Well, yeah, you have to have your IT,
I mean, she did not want telephone conversations. She wanted to look them face to face.
Yes, there was questions she had to have, and there was question she was asking me before she even came down about the network setup in there, I didn't know the answer to it because I don't know anything about that stuff. And she asked me who did our IT, we had somebody in house. I said, no, we contract out. She said, you got to have somebody here. Got to.
You know, I hate to look at things this way, but, if we have to pay the full bill to get this settled, we're going to come out ahead monetarily by paying the bill, then
Yeah, like he said.
attorneys writing letters back and forth, and then one side or the other calling the other to the courthouse. We need to look at this, because we've already written how many letters?
One. And I haven't written any. I wrote this that you have.
One in a memo.
One memo.
But I mean, and really, we've all basically agreed that we think we more than likely owe these people some money. So how much are we going to say that we don't owe them? Well, maybe an hour, hour and a half a time, and then the 400 miles travel probably.
Well, how many times have they been here before? Let's just say in the past.
Before that,
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Did they bill us? Mm-hmm. Same way?
Yeah, but they didn't bring 2 people.
Right, okay.
This is the first time they brought 2, except for that one time when we first hired them, they come down to look at everything and map everything out.
And that was part of
And
the
that was part of
setup
the
fee.
contract,
That
that
was
was
part of
set
the
up
fee,
fee,
yeah.
so that wasn't billed at all.
So the main problem we're having is that they sent 2 people, which,
Well, and the mileage just goes,
Right.
No. We can't figure the mileage. At 400 miles.
I've got a problem with the mileage and time discrepancy because if they thought it'd be better off for them to send 2 versus the one that was required, why should we pay for the second one and not just the first one?
or a third one from Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got another guy coming in from Japan. He's
Right.
an expert. Yeah.
He's gonna drive.
Yeah, I mean, you can go forever with it the way it's set up.
Right.
Looks to me like they charged the mileage for each of them,
I think one came from their house and the other one came from the office, I think.
and that's how they get the 400 miles.
Well, I agree with what Mr. Jordan here said, that, we could go ahead and approve to pay it, but we still need to negotiate with them on the second person coming.
Well, you could approve to pay up to so much tonight, and if the negotiation doesn't, then to bring the rest of it back to the next meeting too, or something like that.
So,
If you approve just to pay, however, the one person 7.5, the other 6 hours, and mileage from their office to here for one or something, and then you can bring it back if they don't negotiate, but if they get the minutes that it's approved, then they're not going to negotiate if they know what already happened.
is that something that you could call them on, or we need Mr. Hamilton call them?
I can start by calling, I can
Right.
call them and talk to them about it.
And that'd be like the next step, okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to suggest that someone make the motion that we authorize up to $1,400 maximum for negotiation with Avtech to settle this, but try to get the second person and the mileage for the second person removed, but, go ahead and have authority to settle for $1,400. But, if y'all want to propose some other amount, that will be fine also.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve up to $1,400 as payment to Avtech Solutions Incorporated. And in the process of this motion, and in the process of negotiating with them, that we try to see if we can get the second person removed from the billing and the mileage of that, due to that second person that we're charged on the billing removed. But we have the authority is given up to pay up to $1,400 on this bill.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Pro Tem Jordan and a second by Mrs. Willis that we authorize staff to negotiate with Avtech with a maximum of $1,400 to be paid for the invoice. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, Councilmember Brandon Thomas to appoint one individual to fill the remaining term in the Economic Development Committee.
Mayor and council, I am going to appoint Sandy Fernandez for the empty chair on the Economic Development Committee.
All right. You know, we might want to council know the reason Mr. Thomas having to make another appointment is his nominee that he originally appointed the Economic Development Committee and moved outside of Reno and has submitted resignation from the Economic Development, Mike Chapman. All right. We look forward to working with him. All right. Do what?
Her.
I said with her, didn't I?
Oh, I thought you said him.
If I said him, I apologize, Sandy.
Get you.
Adopt ordinance item G. Adopt ordinance 331.4, amending the municipal 2013-2014 fiscal year budget. City Secretary.
This is the annual cleanup of the budget. Doing all the budget amendments before it goes to the auditor. Just trying to get things cleaned up.
All right, the last page on the Reno Crime Control, we cannot amend that budget tonight because Crime Control Board will have to amend that and then have to come back to council. Don't all y'all speak at once.
Okay, quick question. It says that it's not going to exceed the total of the original budget amount. If I add this up right, it's somewhere around $66,000.
Which one are you looking at?
All of them together. What was the original amount budget?
When you add up the additions and then the deletions, because you're deleting line items to do the other, and then down at the
Right.
bottom, the property tax is being increased, so you have to put those with the deletions. So if you'd add those additions with your deletions, then they match, because you're increasing the revenue. The bottom two property taxes, it's increasing the revenue to offset, so you're not adding,
Okay, well, that would only be an increase of 24,000. That would still
Plus
leave,
the
that would still
18.
leave 29,000.
plus the 18, the 6, the 2,300, and the 3,000 on the deletion.
Now, where's that?
Right over here, because you're lowering these line items. You're lowering the street and drainage maintenance 18, because this line up here in 02 matches, it's the 0225, didn't have anything to offset, so we had to increase property tax to come up with the money to offset, because they didn't have anything left in their overall division. But when you add these and these, they add, so you add these up and the addition here matches. I mean, it evens the budget back out. It won't be more than what.
Well, what about the system fund?
Yeah, the system is all within itself.
Okay, it's totally separate.
I should have kept them in there. I went in, so it's on Excel, and added them and made sure that they all matched, but then I deleted all those lines back out before I put it on here.
Okay. Okay, that was my question. I just added them all together.
Yeah, because when you put this, and if you add this with this line, it really looks like it's off. But this is with the revenue instead of the expenditure. So really, it's over here with the deletion, you know, it's the it offsets.
The and delete's supposed to balance each other out.
Right.
But except in your property tax,
Yeah.
because you're adding to the revenue instead of adding to an expense, so it throws it off. It's
And I
kind
want
of-
to clarify what you just said about property tax. We didn't add anything to the property tax. We collected more property tax.
We added on the budget.
We
because-
increased the budget because our property tax collections exceeded the budgeted amount.
Right.
We didn't add anything to the property tax. We're not doing something unscrupulous.
We added to the line on the budget. We're talking about line items in the budget.
Any other questions on the budget amendment ordinance?
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance 331.4, amending the municipal 2013 through 2014 fiscal year budget.
I second.
Have a motion by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Cooper, that we adopt ordinance 331.4, amending the 2013-14 fiscal year budget, with the understanding that the crime control portion of that is not included in this ordinance we're adopting. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, City Council Rules of Order and Procedure.
This doesn't have anything added to it. This is exactly the way that it was adopted when it was revised back in May of 2012. And I know that council talked about wanting to put the travel in here. So if you wanted to outline what you wanted, how you wanted that in here, you know, you want to draw something up.
And that's the only thing that's changed?
Yeah, we haven't added, I mean, I haven't done any of that either, but I know that you guys have talked about wanting to incorporate that into here, so we'd have to do that. And then if there's any other changes that you want to see in here.
Why don't we take this, everyone look at it, review it, see what you like, don't like, what you want to add, what you want to delete, and bring it back at the next meeting.
That'd be great.
All right, that's acceptable to everyone?
Yes.
All right, we're going to skip item I just for a little bit. We're going to move on to item 8, new business consent items. Discuss, take action. A, approval of monthly bills and purchase orders for September 2014. B, financial update as of September 31, 2014. That's going to be impossible to do.
To do what now?
September 31st. I think that's a typo. I can just call it September 30th, Counselor.
That's fine,
All right. B, financial update as of September 30th, 2014. C, approval of minutes for September 2014 City Council meetings. D, monthly activity reports for September 2014 from 1, Police Department, 2, Public Works Department, number 3, Reno Volunteer Fire Department. Before we make a motion on that, any of the department heads, Police Department, Public Works, or Fire Department, have anything they wish to comment on or inform the council about? All right. I will entertain a motion.
If anybody notices, that abstract check is on there, because it was written in that month, but no, it has not been paid. It's held. You see that?
I make a motion, we approve consent items A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3.
I second the motion.
So a motion by Mr. Cooper with a second by Mr. Thomas that we approve the consent items. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's back up to item 7I, litigation contract and extension contract of November 11, 2003 with Lamar County Water Supply. Means that involves litigation. That item needs to be heard in executive session unless some member of the council objects. Hearing none, let the record show the council is going to enter executive session at 6:57 p.m. Hey, I read it right. All right, let the record show the City Council is reconvened in open session at 7:52 p.m. Item 8, discuss take action on I, litigation contract and extension contract of November 11, 2003 with Lamar County Water Supply.
That extension agreement, there is the one that extends the 1979 contract, which has an end date of December the 31st, 2018. It purports to extend that contract for 5 years, which would make it end in 2023. Our water supply contract, that is, if you look at the face of them.
So, David, the extension contract of November 11, 2003 then provides that the enforcement date for the contract, there'd be a future date.
Well,
after January of 19.
It does. It says it's effective back then, but it says you can't enforce it until the first day that extension agreement is in effect. So the first day you'd be able to enforce it would be January the 1st of 2019. And what that means is that would be the first time either us or Lamar County Water Supply could say, hey, we have a contract here and we need you to abide by the terms of it. That would be enforcing the contract. So that's still a date way in the future. And I think that's an issue too. It's a contract that you can't enforce for several more years.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
Sure. Seems like it.
It doesn't actually change by its terms. It doesn't say anything about altering the 1979 contract at all. It just says we're going to tack this 5 years onto that. And when I read it, I can't see that either us or Lamar County paid or gave anything of value for those 5 years. It doesn't appear in the contract. You can't find, and the legal term for that is consideration. I can't see there's a reciting that somebody gave $1 or $2 or $10 or land or anything of value to the other in order for that to be done.
So that was, I guess, it was done as a resolution, basically.
And that's part of the issue too. Our very first contract, the 79 contract, was adopted as an ordinance by the city.
Yeah.
This other agreement that we're talking about right now was a resolution.
Yeah.
And so I'm having a difficult time from a legal perspective understanding that you can modify that ordinance by a resolution. I think that's a real problem. I don't know that you can do that. And since there hadn't been anything done on it, it's still something in the future. It can be changed. I think it can be undone. Meaning you don't, if you say, we don't want to do that. And let me give the council the benefit of this. There has been some indication that there was a reason that Reno needed this 5-year extension, and it had to do with certificates of obligation that we were getting through the Texas Water Board. I've talked to an attorney down there, and that attorney told me, if you perform the construction that you asked for these certificates of obligation, if you've performed that already, you don't have to have this 5 years. So it's meaningless for us now. It doesn't mean a thing, because we've done what we said we were going to do. So it doesn't have any, we don't have to have 5 years. I don't know if we had to have 5 years back then, but certainly it's not a requirement now that this contract show there's an end date of 2023.
Interesting.
I can tell you this we talked about this some, but the contract we have with 1979 says that if there is a modification of the contract, then you have to have 75% of the wholesalers that know about it and agree to it. And I have asked for that documentation in discovery, both in deposition and in written discovery. And there's nothing like that. We don't have anything like that, and Lamar County Water Supply says they don't either. So that's another issue having to do with the 79 contract, but still you're saying, well, you didn't extend it if it is an extension the correct way.
Yeah.
So I think you can, if it's the council's desire, you can vote to leave this alone and just let that 2023 year sit there, or you can say it doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore. It's kind of sort of fluff. I don't know why we even have to have it, particularly a lot of the other issues in the lawsuit. I don't know that it's even necessary for it to be there.
The extension, the 5-year extension.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying that Lamar County Water Supply didn't actually accept the contract in the proper manner?
Well, basically, yes. There's got to be something of value given for the contract. It's like a sale. Something has to trade back and forth. Right now, nothing's happened, and there's not been any performance in the contract. So I have a real difficult time seeing how either side could say I've been harmed when there's no consideration, there's been no performance under this contract. It doesn't start for another, 4 years? Doesn't even start.
75% of the contracting parties did not approve the contract.
I cannot get that documentation if they did. It has not been made available to the city of Reno. And I have indications that it was not done. I'll say that. Interesting, right.
We know the city was not contacted about those involved with the city about the extension, as far as being part of that 75%.
I can't, and to go just a little bit further, I can't find in any of the modifications of the contract, and I'm talking modifications meaning bond extensions and things like that, I cannot find there's been one time that 75% of the wholesalers have been contacted.
And you would think we would be contacted as a wholesale party.
We are not only a wholesale party, we are the biggest wholesale member.
And it says approval of 75%. It doesn't say contact 75%?
It does say that there has to be, they have to approve of that,
So we'd probably be correct in working on the assumption that no contracting party was contacted.
I think if you, well, yeah, that's certainly my position. If you can't prove anybody was contacted or approved it, then it didn't take place.
It would be very interesting if they contacted others and left us out.
It would be. It would be.
Anyone else have comments or questions? If not, I will entertain a motion either to no action on this or accept the revocation rescission.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, considering what we just discussed here, that we revoke, the motion is for revocation and rescission of the supplemental to the extension of the water supply contract dated June 14th, 1979, and said extension dated, that extension dated November 11, 2003. Herein, we've referred to as and called the extension contract.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jordan, the second by Mrs. Willis, that we revoke, rescind the supplement to the extension of water supply contract dated June 14th, 1979, said extension dated November 11th, 2003, hereinafter extension contract. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No further items on the agenda. I will declare the meeting adjourned.